So, my name's Courtney. How are you doing today?
I'm
Are
fine,
you all
thank
right?
you.
I can ask
I'm
for your
Jan.
name.
I'm Janet.
Hi, Janet. You all right?
Yes, thank you.
Good, good, good. So, as quick question, what brought you to So Mindful Crafts in the first
Uh,
place?
I think loneliness because I was in a house of my own, which I didn't really like, and I hated the house. I hated the area. I used to stay in bed for days on end. But get coming here made me get up, have a shower, get dressed, come out, meet other people, and it's been really good for my mental health.
I think that's fantastic and it's really, really, really good to hear.
Yeah,
You said earlier before we
yeah,
recorded that you're one of the starters.
yeah.
So
At the
when this
very
first
first time.
started,
It was
it was
crochet.
yeah.
I'd always wanted to learn to crochet. I can knit, I can sew, I can do anything. Crochet, forget it. I didn't do very well, but it was just nice to be out, just nice to meet people, talk to them. And I mean, I've been to, oh God, I wouldn't like to think how many classes I've been to. So I was there at the very first Monday evening, bring your own project thing. And I've been going to that for practically the whole time it's been running. And
It's amazing.
I've been to about 5 memory beer groups, and I met Irene, who was a 72-year-old lady she was living on her own because she'd lost her husband last year, and I said to her, why don't you come on a Monday night? And she came, she brought her knitting. She says, what will I do? I says, whatever you want. Brought her knitting. She sort of enjoyed it. She thought, oh, I like this, and she brought some sewing the next week, and the two of us for about the past some about April, May last year. We've been best friends,
That's amazing.
and we've got sort of built up a group of about 6 of us, and we used to go out for meals at night or at lunches or go out places and meet up and go out places. And I hadn't had friends for years because I've been ex-forces.
Yeah.
You move around so much. I mean, a lot of my friends in the forces are abroad or in different parts of the country, and you don't really see them that, you got to make a big thing of going to see, meeting up in the middle and going to see them.
So it sounds like the experience
Yeah.
here and for coming here, you've actually brought people to the business itself, and also you've made a friend circle.
Yeah. And it's great that, I mean, I sort of, I mean, as I say, I've been military, so sort of military veteran, and it's a very lonely time sometimes being a military veteran because you tend to gravitate towards other military people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was an RAF nurse,
Oh wow!
and I sort of
Can I ask you about the experience in the RAF?
loved it. I, I joined quite late. Joined when I was about 23. So I had to go back to night school to do English and biology at night school. So I found out when I was 21 I was dyslexic, and because at 62 went to school and I started school in 1968, and you were just thinking stupid in those days. So just dyslexia wasn't heard of. It was just, you know, and that was hard going. But I did it, and when they made allowances for my English, I'd gone from an E to an D previously,
Yeah.
and then when I did it at night school, I got a B, which I was chuffed to bits with. So I got into the Air Force in 1986. Basic training was hard, but they break you down to build you up. And I still keep in touch with some of the girls I was joined up with, because a lot of them were nurses. We did about 17 in our group were nurses. And I absolutely loved it. I was in just short of 12 years. I actually had my son while I was still in, when I was out in Cyprus. I had my son on maternity, which was my ward, which is where I worked. But it was lovely. He was a hospital mascot. So it was quite a small hospital. There was only 2 or 3 wards, and he was a hospital mascot. Everybody knew Jamie, even the CO knew Jamie, and it was lovely. It was a really. I mean, I didn't want to leave. I would have stayed in forever. But
So you had like a family environment
yes,
in there.
I mean, when I was at Ely, I was at RAF Ely. There was a hospital there, and there was a corridor full of us girls, about 6 or 7 of us. And we used to come home from work and end up sort of sitting in the corridor, just sort of bringing a cushion out or a beanbag or something and just sitting in the corridor chatting away all night, half the night. Then we think, right, let's get a Chinese.
So can I say that you've replicated that sort of family and friend environment back here
Yeah,
whilst
yeah. I could see. I mean, when I could see Irene was lonely, and I thought, right, let's get her involved, get her coming here, and she loves it. And she comes. She's doing a patchwork quilting course here just now, and she's been to the teddy bear courses, and she's been to all sorts of the courses. And I'll phone her up sometimes. I says, right, Irene, what do you fancy doing today? Or you come, let's go over to Flourishes in St Catherine's house, and we'll have some lunch, or we'll go. Do you fancy going for a drive? And we'll go out and we'll sort of turn up somewhere and go for lunch, or we go for Sunday lunch quite frequently. So
that's fantastic. That's fantastic to hear.
yeah. I
Well,
mean, Mick used to. I mean, he used to get worried about me last year because I was really low.
Yeah.
And he used to phone me up just to check up on me. He says, "Oh, you coming this week?" And he'd sort of check up on me, see how I was, make me get up. And
So it does feel like a very family environment
oh yes,
for them to ring you to make sure you're okay.
yeah. He
I
used
think
to ring me and just say,
really
"Oh,
nice.
just checking up on you, just see how you're doing. Oh, there's this class or that class on. Do you want to come?" I went, "Oh yeah, put my name down for it." And it would make me get out of bed. It would make me have a shower and get dressed. And now that I've got a friend circle, I don't have to rely on my grown-up children. But see, they turned into my mum and dad. I've got a son and a daughter, and they sort of, sort of had to sort of keep an eye on me. And my daughter lives in Mansfield, my son lives in Bentley. But my son came out, has been trans recently, and support him 100%. I even made him a circular skirt for he wanted what he called a twirly skirt, and so I made him one for his birthday, his 30th birthday, and I made a memory bear out of the leftover fabric. So he said he wore that the whole summer last year because when it was hot. He said, "Come home, jeans off, skirt on." He said it was great, it was lovely and cool. So I'm making him another one just now. But
So I feel like you really are enjoying your time. Just for the sounds and how you're talking about Soul Mindful Crafts and what you've done so
yeah,
far, it sounds like you really
they
do
have
enjoy your time
they
here.
have really done a lot for me, and they've done, if I'm down or something. I mean, I lost my mum, but coming up for 2 years ago in May, and I come in, and Tracy's not a huggy person, but she gave me a big hug, and everybody was, she kept checking up on me and kept. I had to come because all my family's up in Scotland, and I'm the only one down south, so I was on my own grieving my mum, and I knew she'd had vascular dementia, but I didn't realise she was as bad as she was.
Yeah.
So when I went up on that Tuesday and went to see her that night, and I didn't recognise her. She was this little tiny scrap. I mean, about 5 stone, if that, and her spine was sticking out, and her, she looked so poorly. And then she survived till the Thursday morning. We all got called in. And I was holding her hand when she died, which was, I was just glad I was there for her. And I just sort of whispered in her ear, says, "It's all right to go now, Mum, we're all here." And it was quite sad, but I got a lot of support here. And I used to come in and talk about it, and nobody ever said to me, "Oh, oh, go on, we've had enough of that now, let's go on to something else." They just let me talk, which was what I needed.
So from what I'm listening to, Soul Mindful Crafts has really helped with the mental health side of
Oh
things
God,
as
yes. Oh yes.
well. And it sounds like you've had amazing support from, I
Very
won't say
much.
strangers, because they're not
No.
strangers anymore.
No, God, no.
But for people who've come in as a community from this one place, they've come in
I
and
mean,
be able to.
Mick will take the Mickey out, make something chronic, but I know it's all in fun. And as being ex-military, we have got a really strange sense of humour in the military. The things we find funny and we do to each other. I mean, even on the wards, I mean, the sister used to send you down to pharmacy to get 1,000 units heparin with a big trolley. 1,000 unit heparin is one of those little ampules. And you used to come back up and, they used to sort of make you sort of practical jokes. I mean, one on night shift one time, I wasn't there, but in RAF Rotten, which is down near Swindon, was a really old hospital and a really old lift. They managed to get a cow in the lift.
Really?
Don't ask me how they did it, but they got a cow. They got a cow in the lift.
Brilliant.
And how they did it was, we're still trying to work out how they did it, and how they didn't get into trouble from the CEO.
I think it sounds a bit. It sounds like they were more impressed. Like, how
Oh,
did they do
very,
that?
yeah.
How?
I mean, it was a big lift
This,
because we used to get beds and trolleys and
yeah,
things in it,
sure.
but
But still, to get a cow in there.
that is legend. That is legend. I mean,
That's my sort of humour, though. To be fair,
yeah.
I
Oh
find that
gosh.
hilarious.
I mean, I'll turn around to somebody and say they've cooked something. Says, "Oh, I didn't like that. That was. I mean, plates absolutely clean. Didn't like that. No, no, no." And they'll look. I says, "I'm kidding."
So
Oh.
my last question, for you. So, for everything you've experienced, been here for quite a few years now. What feedback would you give to people who are looking to come into So Mindful Crafts to do any sort of project, from
Do it.
music projects
Yeah.
or anything like that?
Yeah, just do it. Go for it. It's not that expensive, and just do it, and you test it out for yourself. I mean, because I've never met anybody that's cliquey or, the little groups that stay on their own. Everybody joins in with everybody else. I mean, Monday night when Tracy's doing her live, sometimes you all hear is, apart and Mick's the loudest, laughing in the back here when we're doing the Bring Your Own project. And he's got a loud laugh. And when or Mikey as well. I mean, they're all lovely. I've met Mikey a few times, and I really count him as a friend now. And Mick and Tracy as well. And I'll come in and have a conversation with Tracy, and we'll sort of chat away and discuss the kids or the grandkids or whatever. And it's fantastic. I mean, when they said it about doing it, I kept saying, when's it starting? When's it starting? And when they have I did the esophageal cancer quilt, the posters, and I want to do the breast cancer because my late mother-in-law, or my late ex-mother-in-law, had breast cancer, and I want to do one especially for her, in her memory, and so that'd be something special to do. But but I want to teach my granddaughter who's 10. I want to teach her to sew, but her mum won't let me. She's seen how much fabric I've collected.
It's a good skill to have, to be honest
Oh
with
God,
you.
yes.
Ironically, I wish I knew how to sew. I can't sew a button on my pants.
Come on a
So
Monday night.
there you go. There's the advert. I need to go on the Monday night.
Yeah, because when you went to the men's group, they did sewing at first, didn't they? Or did you? Hadn't you gone by there?
I think it was. I think the sewing will live briefly. Like you wanted to. You can do it.
I mean, I remember helping Lawrence finish the dress he was making for his partner
Yeah.
on a Monday night. But it's the things I've made. It's my house at the moment. It's just. I mean, they say crafting is not a hobby; it's an addiction. And you want the latest thing. I mean, the amount of materials I've got, the fabrics I've got, take over the house. Literally take over the house. I've got about 10 boxes, 60-litre boxes, at least, full of fabric.
Oh wow!
I mean,
It's like setting up a business.
yeah. I mean, I just love nice fabrics, and I love nice cardboard and papers as well. So I used to do paper crafts, and I like doing scrapbooking and things like that. I mean, my mum taught me to sew when I was 5. So that's about 57 years ago, with an old Singer treadle machine that was my great granny's. I made my first actual piece of clothing, proper clothing, when I was 10. It was a skirt, and it was a bit of pinafore skirt thing when I was 10.
Wow. So
And when I was in about third or fourth year in school, so that would be about year 10 or 11 in English speak, it was I went to night school just to do more
the reason why I find
Mm.
that amazing, because we nowadays generation. I know I'm going on a bit. Nowadays generation, a lot of young girls don't know how to sew.
They don't.
Funny enough, don't know how to cook either, but they don't know how to sew or repair.
Yeah, they don't
Their
know
own
how to. I
clothes.
mean, they'll just chuck them out. My daughter, to my shame, can't sew. And I thought, how? I mean, she'll say, Mum, and I love sewing. I mean, the things I've made. I mean, I made my ex-husband's cousin, who was a size 30. I made her a wedding outfit, which had a lovely velvet top with chiffon sleeves and a long skirt. And I made when we moved into, we used to live in the old area of Finningley in the officers' quarters. I made all the curtains, the soft furnishings, curtained the whole house. I've made my own wedding outfit. I've made my bridesmaid's dress up for my sister's wedding. I've made the flower girl dress for my daughter's wedding. I made the flower girl dresses and all sorts of things. And I made a patchwork coat for my son when he was, with all Disney and characters on it and things like that. I just love I love creating. I'm not intellectually savvy, but I think if I look at some people nowadays, yes, yes, I am.
I'm a big believer on you've got different types of intelligence, and there's creative intelligence as well.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you give me a bit of material, about 3 meters of material, and I can make you a dress out of it. Or in Cyprus, it was really hot in the evenings, but the mosquitoes were out, and they used to eat you alive. And there was a fabric shop over there, George's, and you used to be able to get cartoon material. So I used to make the guys some loose cotton trousers, and I made a fortune out of that. I mean, they all brought me this material, and about a day or so later, they got a pair of trousers back. And they all love it. Says, oh, it's great. Says, because everybody wore the cartoon ones, so they were all about the same. But they said they didn't get eaten. I get eaten alive.
oh, Mozzie's love me in every
Oh,
country.
I mean, I've got pale blue Scottish skin, so.
I'm going to say I must have a certain blood type.
Yeah, my ex-husband never got anything, but they said I didn't drink. I don't drink alcohol, and he did. And I think they say if you've got enough alcohol in your blood, you'll be all right. But I used to get eaten alive.
So I've learned something today. Drink more on holiday. I'll be fine.
Or citronella oil. Or burn a citronella candle when you're
Yeah.
fat out. Yes, but no, I'd recommend So Cute to anybody, or So Mindful to anybody. I mean, with Tracy with her fabrics as well. She's got a gorgeous. They're not the cheapest, but the quality is good, and it's got excellent quality, and there's a variety of things. It's beautiful.
I must say, it's been amazing to talk to you.
Thank
I've
you.
learned so much. Like literally, it's so interesting just to find about your background and how
And
things
and
go.
I've flown in a fast jet, pulling 4.5G over the Ogwen Valley in Wales.
Really?
Yeah, you know, one of the ones.
You know what? We need you on another podcast. I want to ask you so many more questions.
I'm in the RAF Valley on Anglesey. They had the hawks, which are the same type the red arrows fly, and we used to go up with. I mean, you could put your name down to go up with the weather ship in the first thing in the morning, and it took me practically to Blackpool and back.
You know what? I should be asking more questions, but I'm going to anyways. So, how did it feel flying? I mean,
Well, toast and orange juice tastes the same going up as it does going down. And I mean, oh God, I was sick. But the experience. I mean, how many women have been up and flying? I mean,
not
women
many.
in
That's
yeah,
why.
and then I've been up in helicopters. Went in the search and rescue helicopters, and used to have this strap on that was attached to the floor or something, and you had a belt round you, and you sat with your legs hanging out the door. These big yellow helicopters. Been in Chinooks, been in Sea Kings, Wessex, Lynx, Limas. You know, I've been in God knows how many helicopters, and I love flying in helicopters. They're so much fun. Clambered over a tornado. They took us there for a day with the school of nursing, in narrow skirts, in high heels, and they got us climbing over the ground.
That sounds incredibly uncomfortable.
It is, because I got up. I was all right up there until somebody started walking under the wing, and I thought, I want down. Get me down now. But I mean, the things I did. I mean, as I say, I had my son in the Air Force, and I managed to sort of balance that with both. I mean, I had a fantastic childminder, but you know, it was hard. You're not allowed to have any time off if they're ill. Like one night I was up all night with him with croup when he was only just coming up for a year, and I had to take him to med centre, and I had to go to work for 6:30 the next morning. That morning, and I was up all night sort of thing, but I wasn't allowed time off. Thankfully, my husband was off that day, so he looked after him. But you know, you sort of
I'd love to actually have a longer podcast with you to sit down
anytime.
and have a conversation about just life in general, because I think it's pretty interesting to know, especially women in the forces. Um, it's quite important for us to know about what that was, what that was like, and again for people, women in general, what to go in the forces or thinking about going to the forces.
I mean, it's a lot different now. To say it's a bit easier is, you know, they were really tough on us.
Yeah.
That we had to do what the men did, and that's fair enough. They get paid more. But you know, I mean, I left when I was, what was it, 34 when I left. And I had my daughter not long after I came out. I was pregnant when I came out. But they made me compulsory redundant. So I didn't have a choice on it. And I was really upset because for about 10, 12 years, I was Janet the nurse in the med centre. I was on the ward. I was one of the nurses. And when I came out, I lost my entire identity. I was Jamie and Sophie's mum. And I totally lost my identity. And I couldn't cope with losing my identity. So I got married when I was 30, had my son when I was 32, and my daughter when I was 34. And it was,
wow.
so I waited, I'd had my thing first. I mean, I lived in Denmark as a nanny when I was 19. I went to college to do my nursery nursing, then went out to Denmark for 2 years to live as a nanny.
That's amazing, and I think what I want to do, I want to talk to Mick, and I'd love to have you back on,
Of course,
so we can
anytime.
actually have a full-blown conversation about your journey in life, about the RAF, about even just how, again, re-mentioning how it helps you here as well.
Oh God,
And I
yes.
think it's an important story to
Yeah.
be brought out
Well,
there if
it's
possible.
not the usual story you hear from any woman in the street.
Not at all.
No, I
Not
mean,
at
because
all.
there's about 3 or 4 other, because I was Princess Mary's Royal Air Force Nursing Service, and they were WRAF, there's a Women's Royal Air Force. So they were always different from us, and there was some resentment in that because we were with different hats, with different uniforms, and some of them didn't like that. But I'm the only PM that I know in Doncaster. And I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I found one of the army captains that I worked on maternity with. She was a midwife, and you know, I sort of still keep in touch with my old boss. That was in midwifery, and you see various people online, and there's actually a chap that works up at the big Tesco's in Balby. That he's ex RAF as well, and I met him up when he was doing the poppy sales. And then the next year I went in, I just lost my aunt in Australia. And I was a bit upset. And he says, "Oh, come here, Janet, I'll give you a big hug." And I see him, and he's gay, bless him. And I see him frequently in Tesco's, and I always get a big hug. And we keep saying, "Right, we're going to go out for dinner." You know, we're going out in a sort of, not a date, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
We're
just
sort of
go
going out
out
together.
for a nice meal.
Yeah,
be
go
able to
out together.
talk,
And
it's
he's
nice.
lovely. I mean, I can talk to him for hours. I can talk the hind legs off a donkey. But yeah.
But I'm have to cut it short just
Yeah.
because I'm just conscious of time. But what I really do want to do is I'd love to have another conversation with
course,
you. And
anytime.
if again, just let Mick know if it's the day you want to come in. Come here every Tuesday.
Yeah, I come in
So-
Monday nights, and I've just started today coming on Tuesday. I won't be here next week because my son's got a broken leg and I've got to take him for a hospital appointment. But normally I'll be here on a Tuesday.
But no, that'll be fantastic. Come in. I would love to have a full-blown conversation
Yeah,
about
and-
everything, because
yeah.
I think you've got, with your experience and life experience, I think there's a lot what we could learn from
Yeah.
having this conversation.
Yeah, so I'm now, after 15 years, starting to come off my antidepressants as well, because my darling ex-husband did a right number on me, so cheated on me for a long time. And
Sophie.
and the kids knew about it, but they didn't tell me because they didn't want to upset me, not knowing that I knew. I'd found out, and
And it's a burden on the kids, because obviously the kids don't
exactly,
want to
they were
upset you, but
14
they
and
don't want to say
16,
nothing.
so my son was going for his GCSEs, and he's got quite bad dyslexia, so he was struggling at school, sort of thing, and it's not fair. And I got them. I was the one that sorted out counselling for both of them. When he went to college, I phoned them and said, like, he needs some counselling. Contacted the school, and they were the same. They got counselling for my daughter, so that they weren't they had somebody independent to talk to about things they might not have told me and don't want to tell me.
I think it's fantastic that the first thing you thought about was the kids rather than the situation at hand, which is obviously upsetting as well.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
And the thing about it is, I think that it's the mind of a parent. You went, no, my kids are more important. Let me make sure they're all right. Then I'll deal with my situation after.
Yeah, so I'd actually done part of my first half of my counselling training,
You know,
and to go through being disabled as well, because I had a very badly arthritic knee, and I had to give up work when I was about early 40s, which I didn't want to do. I mean, I'm absolutely riddled with it, arthritis, but I got to go on. And I put up shelves, I hang curtains, I, drive up to my dad's in Scotland and just get on with it. And so if I didn't get on with it, I'd be sat in the house in the corner crying, and that doesn't do any good.
what I've noticed that you're a very strong person. So, and I think that message needs to be out for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people struggling through mental health, through situations where they have been cheated on, they're going through the loss of parents, loss of friends, and sometimes
It's a suicidal. I attempted suicide once because he did such a number on me that I went down, sat in Asda's car park in the car, and took 20 tramadol. Waited about 2 hours, phoned the ambulance. They were fantastic. No judgmentation at all. Same with the hospital, they were great. I mean, when you go through late and what you say to them that you're having problems with your anger, they just concentrated on him. Why hadn't I done this? Why hadn't I done that for him? This and for him. And the counsellor said when we were going out, to put it politely, says, F this for a game of soldiers, Brian. If I was you, I'd say, F this for a game of soldiers, I'm off. And that was from a relate counsellor. And you've got to sort of know that it's not your fault that he's had an affair. And that night, I just drove out. I went and left the house at midnight and drove down to the car park and just sat there. And it's sort of, I told the kids myself I'd done it, and I promised them I'd never ever do it again. But I said, your dad just pushed me to such a point that I couldn't cope. I just thought they'd be better off without me.
Was your kids a factor of why you were like, no, I'm not gonna?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to break up, honest.
Right.
Right. But yeah, they were the factor that they were the reason I phoned for help.
No, you
So
know what?
I didn't want to leave them without the mum.
What I find amazing is the fact that what you did is you saw your kids and went, you know what? I can't do this.
Yeah.
Because my kids are the most important things to me. But what I find amazing is, to be in the RAF, you have to be a very strong-minded person, very strong-minded woman.
Especially when your parents are subjected to you joining up as well.
Exactly. And the fact that you still had a moment of mental weakness, as I would call it, and come out stronger, I find that a detriment to you, to how amazing.
So I'm sort of a very independent person. I mean, last year, it was the first anniversary of Mum's death, and my sister and I do not get on. She hasn't spoken to me for 20 years. And it used to upset me, and I just think, well, sod your date. And so I decided, Mum came to visit me when I was at Ely, and she loved Ely, and she loved Cambridge, so I went down and spent the weekend there. I sort of got up on the Friday morning and thought, right, I'm going to Ely today, and I'll go to Cambridge tomorrow, and then I'll come back tomorrow night. And it was sort of celebrating her rather than mourning her. I was celebrating her. This year I'm going to go to Norwich because we went to Norwich while she was down as well.
Beautiful place, Norwich.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And
it's not even like England. You go to Norwich, you think it's a different place.
Yeah, and I sort of thought this year I'll go to Norwich for a weekend and celebrate her, and go to places that she came to visit me.
Thank you very much, everybody who's been listening. I'm here every Tuesday. This is the So Mindful podcast, and have a great evening.